What's up guys, welcome back to my channel to the GD session, and the topic of today is data is the new oil. First I'll give you the quick introduction about this topic. Data is the new oil is one of the most popular ideas in the digital age. The meaning is simple, just as oil powered the industrial economy, data powers the digital economy. Companies today use data to understand customer, improve products, predict demand, reduce cost and make faster decisions. But data is different from oil. In one major way, the more is used responsibly, the more value it can create. The World Bank has argued that data can create economic and social value when it is used and reused well, with trust and fair access. This topic is very important for business students, managers, and policymakers because almost every industry now depends on data. Banking, retail, healthcare, education, transport, and manufacturing all run on data-driven system. The digital economy is also growing fast. UNCTAD says the digital economy is expanding at about 10 to 12% a year, faster than global GDP growth. And it is narrow. Measure is expected to reach 16.5 trillion by 2028. Now I'll talk about why people say data is like a oil. The comparison comes from the fact that raw data is not always useful by itself. Like crude oil, raw data must be collected, cleaned, organized, analyzed, and transformed before it creates value. In today's business, all data helps companies understand consumer behavior, market trends, risk, and competition. In that sense, data has become a strategic resource. UNCTAD also notes that business e-commerce sales grow sharply and reach $27 trillion in 2022, showing how digital transaction and data have become central to modern commerce. Another reason for the competition is scale. The world is producing and storing enormous amounts of data every year. Industry estimates suggest around 181 gigabytes were gathered in 2025, and about 221 gigabytes may be generated in 2026. Even if different studies use different methods, the message is clear: the amount of digital data is exploding. Now I'll talk about the facts and figure about this data. The global internet population continues to grow, which means data creation is also growing. The International Telecommunication Union says about 6 billion people were online in 2025, or roughly 74% of the world population, while 2.2 billion people still remain offline. That means a huge share of global life is now connected, recorded, and measurable through digital system. The digital economy also becoming a major part of the world value creation. UNCTAD says investment in the digital economy has been averaging about 122 billion annually in recent years, and the digital economy is expanding faster than the overall economy. In the same report, UNCTAD says the value of the global digital economy in its narrow scope could reach 16.5 trillion by 2028. These figures show that data is not just a technical issue, it is now an economic asset. Now I am talking about the agreeing point about why data is the new oil. First, data creates business value. Companies use data to understand what customers buy, when they buy, how much they spend, and what they prefer. This helps businesses improve targeting, pricing, inventory planning, and customer service. In modern business, good data often means better decision, and better decision means higher profit. McKinsey 2025 AI survey shows that organizations are continuing to scale AI use, and that value creation depends on strong data practices, leadership commitment, and human validation of outputs. Second, data improve efficiency. Retail companies use data to predict demand and reduce waste. Banks use it to detect fraud and access credit risk. Hospitals use it to track patient outcomes and improve treatment. Logistics firms use it to optimize delivery routes and save fuel. In every case, data helps reduce guesswork and improve accuracy. The World Bank farming of data for better lives supports this data. This idea, data can improve both economic and social outcomes when institutions manage it well. Third, data support artificial intelligence. AI systems do not work well without large high-quality dataset. The more data a company has, the more accurately it can train models, forecast trends, and automate tasks. This is why data has become a competitive advantage in the AI era. McKinsey 2025 findings also show that companies trying to scale AI need strong governance, human review, and data discipline if they want value, not just experiments. Fourth, data is reusable. Oil is burned once and gone, but data can be used again and again by different terms and systems. One dataset can support marketing, finance, product development, and operation at the same time. This makes data much more powerful than physical resources. The World Economic Forum has also pointed out that unlike oil, data keeps being generated at an enormous pace, which makes it a constantly growing resource rather than a fixed one. Now I'll talk about the disagree point, why data is not exactly like oil. At the same time, the comparison has limits. Oil is physical commodity, while data is an intangible digital asset. Oil has a clear market price and can be owned a straightforward way. Data is more complex because issue of privacy, consent, security, and access matter deeply. If data is misused, the result can be fraud, discrimination, or surveillance. This is why the World Bank stresses trust, equitable access, and social safeguards when data is reused. Second, data only becomes useful when it is cleaned and interpreted. Raw data can be messy, duplicated, incomplete, or misleading. Bad data can produce bad decisions. So, data is not automatically valuable just because it exists. It needs infrastructure, talent, and analytical tools. This means the value of data depends on how well an organization manages it. UNCTAD digital economy reports also show that the growth of the digital economy is tied to invest in technology and the ability to build reliable system. Third, not everyone benefits equally from the data. Even in 2025, ITU says 2.2 billion people remained offline. That means a large part of the world still cannot fully participate in the data economy. The digital divide is not only about internet access, it also includes device access, digital skill, affordability, and security. So while data is powerful, its benefits are unevenly distributed. Fourth, data can create power concentration. Large technology firms often collect more data than smaller competitors, which can strengthen their market position. This may make competition harder for new business. That is why governments around the world are discussing data governance, competition policy, and AI regulation more seriously than before. Stanford HAIS 2025 AI Index reports that global legislative attention to AI has increased sharply, showing how governments are trying to catch up with fast-moving digital change. Now I'll talk about the real-world business example about the data. We can see the power of data in everyday business. E-commerce companies use browsing history, search pattern, and purchase behavior to recommend products. Banks use transaction data to detect suspicious activity. Streaming platforms use viewing data to suggest film and music. Food delivery platforms use location and order data to reduce delivery time and match demand with supply. This example shows that companies no longer compete only on products, they compete on data intelligence. McKinsey 2025 survey shows that organizations are moving from AI pilots to scaled use, and that high performers are more likely to use formal process for checking model outputs. Data is also important for governments. It helps in traffic planning, public health, tax collection, education policy, and disaster response. During emergency, data can support faster and better decisions. The World Bank has described describe data as a tool for better lives, not just business profit, because public data can improve service and make policies more effective. Now we'll talk about the future of data economy. The future will likely be shaped by three things: more connectivity, more AI, and stronger regulation. As more people come online, more data will be produced. As the AI becomes more powerful, the demand for high quality data will increase. At the same time, privacy laws and digital governance will become more important. ITU 2025 findings show that universal and meaningful connectivity still remains a major policy challenge, which means the next phase of the data economy will depend not only technology but also on inclusion. The digital economy is also expected to attract more investment because business now understand that data is not just a byproduct or transaction. It is a core asset. UNCTAD's 2025 investment report says the digital economy is expanding quickly and its broader ecosystem is becoming a major destination for capital. This suggests that countries and firms that building strong digital infrastructure will have an advantage in the coming years. Now I'll talk about the conclusion. To conclude, the statement data is the new oil is largely true, but only if we understand it correctly. Data is valuable, powerful, and central to the modern economy. It drives AI, business strategy, digital commerce, and public policy. The growth in the internet use, the expansion of the digital economy, and the massive scale of data generation all prove that the data is now one of the most important resources in the world. However, data is not exactly the same as oil. It is reusable, it can be shared, and it creates a value only when managed properly. It also raises important question of privacy, fairness, and access. So, the best conclusion for this: data is not just a oil; it is an even more powerful resource than oil because it grows with use, but it must be governed wisely to benefit society. Thank you. Hope you like this video.